Hey everyone, Mac2Monster back with Marvel Heroes, and we got Nova on the chopping block. He just got released, so we're going to do his preview, and we'll start with his costumes. And we got his Richard Rider Nova Prime costume, and this one actually looks really cool, as you can see. This is his back view. And then we got his Sam Alexander costume. This is when he was young. A couple different people were Nova. And this is the original costume. Why isn't this working? Server's just crashed, so it's a little bit unresponsive. And then what's really cool about this is his helmet. I like the helmet. But I'm going to stay with Richard Rider. And then we'll go into his abilities. And I'm going to break from my norm. I'm going to go left to right. And we're going to start with Cosmic Blaster Tree. He's got his basic attack, which is a Minor Beam, which restores spirit on hit. So it's a good spirit builder. If you got a spirit burn build, you can use this as a basic attack. We got Nova Beam, which introduces a new mechanic, which is detonating pulsars. It does energy damage twice per second, like a standard beam attack. However, if you have a pulsar on something, it will blow up the pulsar, and then you'll get the pulsar effect early. And then going into pulsars, we got the first pulsar on the list, which is Unstable Pulsar. And this will do energy damage. It's got a delay. It's got a 6-second cooldown. Now the cooldown is supposed to reset after each detonation, but I wasn't noticing that happening. So keep that in mind. The pulsar will probably blow off on its own. That's what the delay is. However, you can expedite that explosion by firing off the beam. Then we got Cascading Bolt, which is another attack where if you're using pulsars, you can get some extra damage because you get a 13% bonus for detonating a pulsar. You can stack that up to three times on this basic attack. Well, it's not really a basic attack, but on this attack, it's got a good rate of fire, but it does cost a good amount of spirit as well. So you have to take that into consideration. Magneton Pulsar. Energy damage twice per second. It slows. It's got an area duration of 6 seconds. It's got a delay of 6 seconds, so it will blow off after 6 seconds, and the cooldown is 6 seconds. You know, maybe that's what I was missing. Maybe this one always goes off and resets. However, the bigger pulsars do not reset their cooldowns, so you have to wait for the cooldown to come off. And then we got Supermassive Pulsar, which does pretty good energy damage, pretty big AoE, and then makes enemies vulnerable. Again, 6-second delay and 6-second cooldown. So you throw these on enemies and they do nothing until you fire off a Nova Beam or until that 6 seconds goes away. Then you got Starbound Power, which is if you're going to be doing Cosmic Blaster Tree, you're going to want this toggle, which will give you a passive, basically. When toggled on, you get damage rating for ranged powers. And then when you detonate a pulsar with a power, you'll restore 30% of that pulsar's spirit cost. Plus, you'll get damage a boost to like 2% at rank 1 here to pulsars. And then you also gain power, increasing damage rating and move and attack speed. So that's a pretty decent little buff. Moving over to Cosmic Brawler Tree. This is going to be a melee tree. It's a very interesting melee tree because keep in mind, look at the damage, it's energy. He's all energy damage. So your melee energy damage on this. And we got Cosmic Combo. And this is a very interesting attack. It has a spirit cost, and it's a little bit hefty of a spirit cost. However, it does do 2 hits for every attack that it does. So when you see that 2.0 attack speed, it's really you know, every attack is 2 attacks, so you're getting 4 attacks every 2 seconds. And then damage plus 13% for each other melee or movement power used in the last 8 seconds, and that can stack up to 3 times. So that's what makes it very interesting. You kind of combo with it besides itself. Then you got Nova Punch, which is a basic attack. And it also restores your shield. You have Nova Shield, which we'll get into Nova Barrier in a second here. But this is like Colossus's punch, where you just restore some of that. You'll never need it. That functionality of it's kind of useless. World Mind Assistance. This is a passive, and you're able to see enemies on the mini map. You get critical rating, you get dodge rating, and you restore spirit when you dodge an attack, critically hit with a melee power, or brutally strike with a melee power. So that's some nice extra spirit going on. Pretty awesome passive if you're going down the Cosmic Brawler tree. Cosmic Resilience. You can hit this with just 1 point and instantly regenerate your full shield. Again, making this punch almost useless. And then it gives you crowd control for 1.5 seconds. This is a basic PvP skill. This is the signature, which is Supernova. It's an area signature. It does energy damage, and then your other powers have no cooldown or spirit costs, and you gain +1 energy and 20% damage to melee powers each second. So that's pretty awesome. You gain movement speed. Buff lasts 5 seconds. Costs 27 spirit. It's on a 35-second cooldown. It's a pretty awesome skill. And then at the end, it explodes. And then we got Nova Pulse, which is an area skill. It does energy damage, regenerate 3 health when you hit an enemy. On repeated activation, you can cast this repeatedly. It increases its base damage, its healing bonus, and its spirit cost all by 20%. And bonuses reset after 1 second without use. And it costs 9 spirit. This is kind of like the same skill like Human Torch has, where you can sit there and go nuts on it. At least to a point. Not exactly sure though why it's in the Cosmic Brawler tree. It probably should be in the Blaster tree. It's nothing to do with melee. And then Human Rocket is the last skill tree. And we get Blast Off. This is your basic charge. It's also melee tagged, which is very nice. Melee movement. This will also detonate active pulsars if it hits them. Forward energy damage and backward energy damage, and movement speed that decays over 3 seconds. So it not only gives you a burst, a charge, but it gives you a burst of movement speed for 3 seconds, basically. Nova Barrier. This is the absorption sphere that we're talking about. Damage absorption of 20% of damage taken. Maximum absorbed 510 damage. Shield regeneration 2% per second while moving. It also gives you defense rating and maximum health. Pretty awesome buff. Unfortunately, the amount of damage absorbed does not go up. So they lowered that from test. That was 25% for a while. That was pretty nice at 25%. Light Speed Strike. This is an interesting strike. This is like Nightcrawler's little dash. It does energy damage per hit. Maximum targets hit 8, so it'll hit 8 targets around him. If there's only 1 target, it only hits that 1 target. And it's got a 3-second cooldown. So with that cooldown, it does have a high damage ratio. Traverse to Cosmos. This is your basic flight. It's a movement flight. So it gives you flight speed, and while you're flying, it regenerates extra shield per second. So that's kind of interesting that they threw that on there. We got Nova Dash. This is another melee movement skill. It also detonates active pulsars. Does energy damage, stun your enemy for 2 seconds and deal 100% damage if fully charged. Basically, you can charge up the ability, and then if you're fully charged and let it go, it'll stun. Energy damage 28 twice per second. Hotspot damage plus 50% if fully charged. Area duration 6 seconds with a 13 spirit cost. It could be interesting. It's not the greatest movement because it's not instantaneous movement. They'll charge up for a split second before going off. Falling Star. This is an interesting skill too. It's melee, area, and movement as well, and detonates active pulsars. It does energy damage twice per second for 5 seconds, and then energy damage upon landing. You basically fly up into the air, fire a devastating beam at enemies below before smashing down in a blinding flash of destruction, finally flinging any flows into the air as you land. And it weakens enemies where they deal 10% less damage for 6 seconds. It's basically like a crash down strike. Iron Man. And then Rocket Speed. This is the other choice to toggle if you're going to go with Cosmic Brawler. So while toggled on, you get damage rating at plus 0.1 per move speed above 350. It's interesting that they made it that complicated on the live server. On the test server, it was a flat bonus rating, which I'm sure is going to equate to about the same. Brutal Strike rating plus 2 to melee powers. Bonus is doubled for 6 seconds when you detonate a pulsar with a power. Dodge rating plus 1 for 6 seconds after using a melee power or movement power, stacks up to 5 times. And when you use a movement power, you get plus 2% to melee power, stacks up to 2 times, and your allies gain power, increasing the damage by X amount in movement attack speed. So some of these things obviously increase dramatically as the levels go up. He's only level 1. And then he's got a summon ability, sort of. Nova Cores, which is his ultimate ability here. Calling a squadron of Nova Corps members to scorch the earth with relentless bombardment from the Nova beams. During this intense barrage, all enemies are slowed and you evade attack with rocket-like agility. Unfortunately, it's a little bit bugged where it does not actually display everything that goes on. So I can't give you the full information. But that's Nova in a nutshell. And that's what he's going to look like. So you got your choice of ranged melee. I suppose you could hybrid them if you really wanted to with the pulsars. And that's it. So I hope it helps. I'm going to level him up. And I'll show him off at the higher level. He's really fun, actually. I had fun with him on the test server. Like I said, I hope it helps. Hope you guys enjoyed, and talk to you when I'm level 60 with him.